Hey, welcome to the channel. I'm Nick, aka Dad, and you know what? Let's just jump right into it. This week we are getting into the new form lighting LED taillights for the new Bronco, the 6th generation. They just came out. I think they hit the market maybe about less than a week ago and was able to get a set really quickly, actually. They're out of St. Louis, which isn't far from us, so usually took about 2 days for it to get here. But I thought, since they're so new to the market, we'd kind of do an unboxing, show you a little bit about the product, and then show you how to install it on a Bronco. It's got some really cool features, so let's dive into it now. All right, so first off, the one thing I always liked about Form Lighting is when we got our headlights from them, they do a really good job at packing these things up. So you've got some good foam in that in here, and then I'll grab at least one of the taillights here. So here is one of your taillights. This looks like, yeah, this will be the passenger side. They have two different models of this. You have this red C here, or they have a smoked taillight. We went with the red. The other cool thing is that these are made of polycarbonate, which is about the same thing. I mean, the same thing they're using for the OEMs, and it's got a UV protection on it. So that should help from it getting that kind of yellowing or just getting kind of dingy looking. That should keep it looking really nice for a long time. The other reason I went for this is that they are customizable. And what I mean by that is they have a startup sequence that you can have on or off, which is really cool. I've seen the videos of it where this outside C kind of pulsates in that. You also have options for a sequential turn signal or non-sequential, depending on what you want to do. And then also, do you want it in amber or do you want it in red, I believe. So you can change the colors of your turn signal. You can change whether you want it to be sequential or not. And you can change whether you want a startup sequence or not. The other great thing from Form Lighting is these work for people who already have LEDs from the factory. So if you had the signature lighting on the 21s and up, these are plug and play. You go right into it. If you have the halogen ones though, so you didn't have the LEDs from the factory, they have you covered on that too. They have an accessory here. Got an extra wiring kit in here. It's underneath my taillight, yep. That you'll plug in so you can actually use the LEDs for these as well. And the other reason I went with these, not just because they're customizable, but they really complement the Form Lighting headlights we have. There's no chrome to these. It's all kind of a black surround. Even the back pieces here are all blacked out. And then the tinted one is a lot darker than this, so it's like a smoked look to it. But yeah, it should be pretty easy to install. Let's get into the tools you're going to need for this install. All right, so for the install, you'll need a trim removal tool, a Phillips headed screwdriver. You'll need an 8mm socket, a 10mm socket. I also grabbed an extension, just a really short one, just in case, and then a ratchet. Okay, not only is this customizable, but I wanted to show you a little bit closer look at the construction of it. It's really nicely made. It looks very OEM, feels very OEM. I love that they've got the Form Lighting F right in there. But I'm hoping that the LEDs are a little bit brighter, which, not that the signature lights are dim, but I'm hoping these are a little bit brighter. The other thing was, though, too, that these reverse lights down here, you've got 4 of them, are supposed to be brighter than what the signature lighting has. And I've noticed whenever I'm in reverse, backing into the garage and that I would love a little bit more light for that rear view camera. So I'm hoping that having these 4 LEDs will be a little bit brighter. We'll find out at the end. And then, like I was saying, they're very customizable. So put this back like this. So like I was saying, you've got the different plugs here, A, B, and I believe there is a C on the side. Now the C on the side is for anybody who has the halogen headlights and taillights, so an actual bulb in them. So we won't be using that. You have a factory style plug here on the side, which we will be using. And then you've got also, like I said, A and B. What these will do is we'll either do the startup sequence or not do the startup sequence, whether it's plugged in, which I believe is A. B does the turn signals. So I believe that is what gives you the sequential or non-sequential. So more like a static type thing. And I was pretty sure that one of these plugs also does either it's red for the turn signal or yellow. So not sure which one does what, or if a couple of these do multiple ones. But yeah, I'll post a link to Form's explanation of these and a little bit more in depth than I'm going into it. And then also, I always love that they have R and L on these things, making sure you know which one goes where. But it's pretty easy when you look at your current taillights and how they look. Pretty easy to figure out that that goes on the passenger side. So let's get started with the install. We'll start with the driver's side. All right, starting on the driver's side, we got to take out these two 10mm, and then we've got a few of those little screw tabs here. You can see those. There's 4 of them there. Need to take that out so we can get out this trim piece here. So let me get these bolts out, get these little screws out, and then get these weather stripping out of here. One thing I find with these plastic fasteners here with the screw head in the center, sometimes if you get them halfway out, they'll usually kind of pop out just like that. Makes it a little bit easier sometimes. Let me get this one out. But yeah, we got all 4 of those out. And that's just one of those things that Ford's using a lot on these vehicles. These little plastic screw fasteners. But just light pressure on that screw head there and should work its way out. If not, use your trim removal tool to go around the kind of the collar here and pop it out. Now that we have all those out, the best place to start here is kind of down this bottom corner. Kind of pull this out because it's underneath the bumper there a little bit. That flap kind of goes down into there, and just kind of work your way back up top here and kind of pull out around this little bump stop here. Kind of work your way around. There, pops out, and that's the step finished. All right, now for this installation, you need to remove your fender flares. So on the Sasquatches and that, you've got the little pieces here. You're just gonna turn all of those to where they basically get straight on. Get that done, and then we'll pull off this fender, because the next piece is we need to get this little corner piece off here, which is basically got some tabs, I believe, in here and some on the back. Let me show you how to get this off without really doing any damage. So if you're like us and you take your Bronco out in the mud, it's probably a good idea to clean this up before you start doing this, and then you don't have dirt falling on all over your face and hands and that, falling out of the back of the fender flare. But yeah, so I believe in the Form lighting installation video, they say there's a tab back here, but I did not notice a tab here. So let me show you what I found. I find that starting from back here is easier because there's 2 tabs back here. So you're gonna pull this straight out, and you may have to use a trim removal tool to get to this. Let me pop this off and I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, so here's that trim piece I'm talking about. This is towards the tailgate, and this is what wraps around. So you've got these 2 pieces here that lock it in. I started with these, which is, again, near the tailgate, pulling this out. You do need to be careful. I did break one of my tabs on this. There's 4 tabs kind of paired up. And then on this side, you've got where it pops in up top here with these 4 spots here. So it sits against the vehicle upright. This would be where your taillight is up in here, wraps around. So once you pop this off, you can kind of pull this away from the body. Just makes it a little bit easier because these white tabs really do hold on really, really well. Now from here, we need to get out this 10mm bolt, and then when we come around to the side over here, we'll need to remove that one at some point too. Might as well get them out of the way now. Okay, so once you have that 10mm bolt out, then this trim piece that's next to the tail light needs to come out. That is held by that 10mm bolt, and then has some locator pins in that back here. It should pop straight out. And here's that trim piece. That's where that 10mm bolt was at. And then your trim piece here, and then your painted piece. And it's got those same kind of tabs that they have in that fender piece here that are pretty strong. But yeah, should be not a problem. I didn't break anything this time, so that's good. Now to remove the tail light, you've got these, I think these are 8mm bolt here, and then you've got another one down here. Take these out, and then I would definitely start with the bottom one and then support the tail light when you're ready to remove it, so it just doesn't fall out. So before you pull out the tail lamp assembly, don't forget to disconnect here. You press the tab and then slide up and out. Now you're ready to remove the whole tail light assembly. So here's the two compared to one another now that the OEM's out. On the OEM, this kind of red, big red C lights up. This little center section does not. And then the strip here in the middle, I believe, is the backup light. So we'll see if these little 4 LEDs are going to do more light than that, but we'll see. And then this one just is the C on the outside. So yeah, I'm looking forward to taking a look at these and see what they look like with each other. We might just show you the comparison between the two. I'll just put in this one and we'll take a look at what it looks like compared to the passenger side OEM. Now before I put this in, I'm going to leave everything connected. The A, the B, we're going to leave those connected. I like the idea of the startup sequence, which we'll show you here in a little bit. I like the idea of the amber sequential turn signals. The amber will match our DRLs up front from form. And then I think in the instructions they talk about disconnecting this if you don't have halogen, or no, maybe it's connecting it if you have halogen, but it came connected, so we're going to leave that one there. And then saw that on this side you have a C, which I believe is for the wiring kit you get in case you do have halogens. You will need to run extra line, which again, we'll put the installation from form in there. They talk about that, which I won't in this one because we don't have any halogen in ours. So let's get this thing installed. Now that we got everything kind of lined up and pushed in, I'm just going to get at least one of the bolts started here at the top. And then we'll reconnect the line from the body to the light. Helps if you use the right bolt. Now I'm going to reconnect. That C wire just kind of sitting there, so hopefully it'll just kind of stay tucked back in there. We'll get the bottom one installed, bottom bolt installed here, and then start going through all the trim pieces. So it looks like really just those two bolts kind of hold it all in. You still have that side one to put in, so we'll put that one in next. And then we've got trim pieces to put on. Don't forget that on the bottom of this trim piece here that we took out has that other 10mm bolt. You don't want to forget any of these pieces and get to the end and go, oh, I got to take it all apart again. So yeah, 10mm bolt here, another 10mm bolt in the side, and then you start covering everything up really. Well, now that I've got this trim piece installed, I've got the bolt, the 10mm bolt installed in the bottom of this one. I've already put the 10mm bolt in the side here on the driver's side. Now we've got this trim panel to put on the bottom, and I'm going to start with the white tabs that go nearest to the tailgate and then wrap it around. I think it makes it a lot easier. So we've got it installed here. You can see we popped this in first. I wrapped it around. You might have to pull up on it a little bit to get it to snap back in. And I just gave it a couple good pops with my fist and pop back into place. So now we're on to, you can either put the fender flare in, or we can finish up by putting in the weather stripping piece that was in here. Either way, putting this back in, don't forget this goes at the bottom. You want these 4 holes nearest the tail light, and then these 2 are your bolt holes. So it goes in like that, and then the bump stop goes through that hole. All right, so now that we've got that trim piece installed, don't forget you've got the 2 bolts that'll go in here, the 4 push pins that go on the side. And once we button this up and get the fender flare put back on, show you again what aftermarket form looks like versus OEM, both with the turn signals, the reverse lights. Get your thoughts, and then we'll wrap it up. All right, we've got everything buttoned up. When you're putting back in your fender flare too, don't forget that those little tabs go back towards the front on the driver's side. I'm not real sure on the passenger side. I don't remember ever taking that one off yet. So, but yeah, make sure those tabs come back forward. You don't want to lose a fender flare while driving on the road. But yeah, install is done. Let's give you our final thoughts on this. I do like that it looks OEM. That's always been something that Monkey and I have always talked about. We want to make it look like it came from the factory that way, but it looks a little bit different. To the point people ask, hey, something looks, why are your turn signals different than mine? It's because we are using form lighting, but it looks OEM. The nice thing is I love that it has kind of the black surround like the OEMs do, but it has the blackout on the inside versus all the kind of satin silver that they have on that, on the OEM. It definitely complements the form headlights that we have. And I like all the customizations that they have on these, where you can have sequential turn signals, non-sequential turn signals. You can change the startup sequence, which we'll show you that here in just a sec, so stick around for that. We'll give you a side-by-side comparisons of the lights, of the reverse lights. I just want to see if they're brighter too. I'm hoping they are. It's always nice to have a little bit more light for that rear view camera to see what's going on behind you. And the install was really easy. Besides that trim panel on the bottom, just kind of learning how to pop that off. Again, start with the tailgate side and then probably work your way around was the easiest way I found on a 21 Bronco. But yeah, if you're looking for more light or just something that's different than what you have on the OEM, I think form lighting is a great light. And they're a great price. That's one thing we didn't even talk about. I think they debuted these and I paid with shipping and tax, or maybe just tax, it was just over 500 bucks, which is pretty much on par with about everybody else out there, like Oracle and their flush mounts and Alpha Rex and their taillights. And then also just depends, do you want an OEM look or do you want to go with the Raptor look like the Alpha Rex is? I wanted to stick more OEM look. I like the looks of these taillights. But yeah, totally up to you. Put a comment down below on what are you running. Are you running the OEM because you just like the looks of them? Are you running form, or are you running somebody else? Let us know in the comments down below. But let's show you what these look like side by side. Hey, thanks for watching our video. I hope you have found this informative on how to install the Form LED taillights for the Bronco, the 6th generation. Hopefully you found the video of them side by side, basically running turn signals and brake lights and reverse lights to give you a good comparison of what you're looking at as far as output goes and what they look like versus OEM. But we appreciate you watching as always, and if you're not a subscriber already, please hit that subscribe button down below. We've got more tips, tricks, and product reviews coming out. We've got more products to put on our Bronco that we've purchased, so stay tuned for those. But as always, have a blessed day. Bye.